Hey, what up, everybody? Yeah, I know it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. That's an old school rap. Anyway, I know it's been a long time since I made a video, especially for YouTube, especially for anything. It's been probably close to a year, if not a year, that I made one just for YouTube. So this is about my experience with watching human sacrifices, a video that I was working as a consultant for a very wealthy client uh, some time ago, not all that long ago, but one day we were on our way someplace, and the client was driving, and they handed me the video on their phone, and just told me to watch it. Told me what I thought. So I didn't really, I didn't know what to expect. I just turned it on, and and I could see it immediately had this eerie feel to it. The environment, it actually looked like some huge cave someplace. And as people were seen in the video, I could see that they were, for one, everybody in the video was naked. I'll just tell you that to start with. Then I got the impression that they were somewhere where it was very hot. The people looked like they were Spanish. They didn't. They looked like they had a hue to their skin like Spanish people, but they weren't like the white Caucasian type colors. And they all seemed to have jet black hair, straight jet black hair throughout the entire video as I'm watching it. And so I'm just telling you how those parts of it throughout. Also, like I said, they were in some huge cave, it looked like. And by everybody being naked, I had to assume that it was relatively warm wherever they were. And the lighting, you could see that they had some kind of mechanical lighting there because of the shadow and the way the shadows were. And the camera work was very basic. I came to try to criticize the camera work as, trying to believe that some kind of way that this thing had been faked and that it was some kind of a theatrical production someplace. I in the end, I just concluded that couldn't have possibly been fake. There was no way like the camera work, for example, there was zooms, and then there would be a pause, or not necessarily a pause, but a change in the camera angle. That was the extent of the camera work. A change in the angle, and then sometimes there'd be a zoom in or a zoom out. And then there'd be, maybe we go from one scene where obviously it had been paused, and then it started up at another place. And altogether, these were about, I lost count because it was somewhere around 10 or 15 different human sacrifices. They and some of them were children. They were the very, very most brutal types of death. They were all done with knives. They would walk someone out. You could see that most of the time they seemed like they were really, really intoxicated or almost dead. Because two people would be holding them, and they didn't seem like they had the strength to fight. But that if the people let them go, like they would probably fall or stumble. But they were definitely alive, definitely conscious, and they would bring them out and stab them with a big knife in the lower sternum, and then drag it all the way down the knife, all the way down to between their legs someplace. and then as their entrails would open up, someone would get to their knees in front of them and scoop out what was there and pull it all down on their face and all over their body, and they kind of wallow and rub themselves in the entrails of the individual. Then there were I saw that probably happened 5 or 6 times. Then they would show scenes where they had already disemboweled, taken somebody's total guts out, and sometimes these people were still moving, and they would throw the what was left of the body onto a pile of other bodies, like 2 or 3 more on a stack, and then some kind of pallet or something that they could carry. And then at one point, while they had all of these pieces on the pallet, on the I don't know what you would call that thing you're carrying, and 4 men will come out and they pick the thing up, and then they walk and they come towards the camera, and I remember the one that was on the very top seemed to still be moving. His head was still seemed to be turning, and I couldn't remember if it was 2 or 3 people on that one, or on that thing that they were carrying, but it was more than one. And like I said, the one on the top seemed to still be alive, despite being disemboweled or whatever it was, So whether or not they actually got to the heart when they were doing this stuff, as I said, they were going in, just under the sternum, and ripping them down to down between their legs, and then scooping their stuff out and wallowing in it. The children, they would take, they were holding this one boy's arms out, and then someone came from behind him with a long, sharp knife and held the top of his head and shoved the knife into his head like that. And, the blood would jump from the boy's mouth. And you could tell the boy had to be, 9, 10 years old max. And like I said, I've seen a lot of gruesome stuff. I grew up in Detroit and Chicago. And I've seen some pretty gruesome stuff, but I'd never seen anything like this. In fact, as I was watching this, I had to kind of grim my whole inside, my spirit, and just hold it so that I could watch the whole video. I didn't even know why this client was showing me this, aside from maybe they were testing me to see if I was squeamish or not, because at some point they told me that this is the evil that we're fighting against. And I told them after watching the video that I never doubted that it was that type of evil in the world existed, but it was pretty gruesome to actually watch it. And like I said, I was trying to fight for some way to think that it was some kind of theatrical posing or something, but it was not. It was real. And in fact, they told me, well, you can either believe it or not, and I said, well, I'm going to think about it a little bit. But deep in my heart, I knew that was a real video. That stuff is really going on somewhere in the world. And I realized on my own phone that I have the ability to shoot videos just like it. If I want to, I can pause this video and cut out, the part where my finger goes up. Or if I was shooting it from, like, I've got the camera facing me right now. Anyway, I know I could change the angle, zoom in, zoom out if I wanted to. And I could produce the same quality video. Somebody could have shot that video from their phone just like I did. I would think that was probably a modern phone. I thought that because they were using these very sharp knives with is there some kind of way I could tell that anything else? So, for example, like I said, in the cave, the lighting didn't seem to be flickering like a flame might be. It seemed pretty stable. And then, like at one point, it looked like they were walking across a little something of a bridge, and it looked like a pretty modern structure. So, this stuff is really going on out here as the purpose of this video. Where a lot of people don't really believe that some of the stuff that's going on in our government here in the United States is actually real. We don't really believe that evil exists to the point where people are really willing to sacrifice human lives, human lives, children, and all in order to accomplish certain goals. And, I would assume the purpose of that video was some kind of sacrifice to Satan, where the person who showed it to me was very, very wealthy. And of course, they said that this is the evil we're fighting. But, in the end, I recognize this person is also potentially a very evil and wicked person also. So is it possible they were just testing me to see if I would go along with stuff like that? Or were they testing me to see if I really love God the way that I claim? Or would I be interested in doing something like that or participating in it in order to be wealthy like the person that I was with was? These kind of questions you don't really know the answer to until you know the answer to them. And maybe that'll be never. But the answer to whether or not that kind of evil really exists in the world, absolutely. And I would tell you, don't think that it's necessarily only in other countries. Maybe that's the only place where they can get away with it because the law is easier to manipulate. The higher up the chain is easier to manipulate in other countries than it is in the United States. But that certainly does not exempt the United States of having leadership that would potentially cooperate with something like that. Anyway, go ahead, like the video, please. Go ahead, like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, please, so that you get all the hit that notification bell. Hit the notification bell. Hit the notification bell. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing more videos here in the future. A lot of it's going to be more politically oriented. And so that you know that the individual who showed me that video was a conservative. Now, again, I'm not going to say that this person was participating in any of that. I'm saying that I would believe that the location where the video was shot was probably more, I don't want to label them liberal, but anyway, I'm going to avoid all of that stuff. I shouldn't have even spoken on that. But the truth is, I want people to be aware there's evil in this world. Human sacrifices are occurring. They are real. And the devil is alive and well in this world. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Again, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Thank you. And I'll see you next time.